Hello and welcome everybody. This is my newest art journal page, and today I am a bit more loose on the topic, and therefore I want to go loose with my way of applying supplies and products as well. So I'm starting off with ink. This is black ink, though it looks quite purple. And I watered down my page first to have it flowing and be gradient and look more like a watercolor painting, though it being inked and being very vibrant in the end. I really like that this ink has kind of a purple-ish sepia kind of look to it. And depending on what paper I apply that ink, it always is different. Sometimes it's more on the brown spectrum, sometimes more on the purple. It's really lovely. It's a normal black ink, and it's been quite a couple of years that I had it, so maybe it's just degrading and therefore changing color a bit. So while I let that dry, I ripped 2 pages from a book and I'm taping them down on some plexiglass surface just to have a flat surface and not my paper being curling in a second, because I'm applying quite a bit of water here, and then I'm going in with light blue, almost turquoise watercolor to create a background, which in my mind is water. So as you saw from the beginning of the video in the photo, there will be a girl floating or having a sideways portrait. I'm just missing the word. Great, lovely. So I think this is a water background, and she's floating in water or some liquid that could be inspiration, you know? So once I have this watercolor applied, and you saw I'm being very loose with it, just going from dark to light with pretty much the same color, just how much I apply and how much water I add is changing the way the watercolor looks in the end. So now that my page is dry, I'm just ripping off some strips. I want to make it look weathered and well, not too neat, because inspiration is not always neat. It's something that I can't really touch or grasp. That's why I went with a floating kind of thing, it being a liquid or whatever kind of substance that you can swim in or float in, and it's nothing set in stone. There's no big geometric kind of shapes to it, and it's not neat, you know? So that's why I go for these kinds of things, having the ripped pages, which I added a bit of turquoise ink to, just to, well, incorporate the rough edges to the background as well, or to the color of the background. Now, I glued that down with some spray adhesive because I want to keep the pages dry. I could also have gone for sticky tape or something, but spray adhesive is quicker. So I adhered the book pages to the background, and now I'm sketching in the sideways portrait of a girl that is pretty much swimming in inspiration or water. Maybe you decide what you see, but she's pretty much, for me, she's swimming in that kind of a inspiration thing. I don't want to call it a liquid. There's probably no words for it, so why do I keep trying? So she's floating in that inspiration. She's submerged sometimes. She's getting up, breathing air, and then swimming in that inspiration some more. So that's the deeper meaning, I guess, of the page. So next up, I'm going in with inks again, purple, dark blue, and dark green, and I'm just forming the hair and the face, trying to apply a bit of light and shadow, but not too much, since I want to stay quite loose, or not abstract, but pretty loose and modern, not realistic at all. So the reason behind this page is that for weeks now, or almost months, I've been in this constant in and out state of inspiration. It's never gone away at all, but it has been more or less, depending on how much I could dip into my inspiration. But it's like floating along, and I'm for the longest time now, I never had that moment where I'm like, yeah, I want to do something, but I have no idea. I'm not inspired. It just didn't happen for the longest time. So I think I'm just, I don't know, floating in a lake of inspiration there, which I like a lot. And I hope that it stays like that for a very long time. So now that I have the hair done, I'm moving on to the skin, and I'm using mostly green and a tiny bit of blue for the skin, whereas I used purple and blue for the hair. And I'm trying not to apply too much of color, because I want the book pages to even look through, like the text being visible in the darkest places of the painting. So I try to add only as much ink as I need to have and not more. I guess with the blue background, you could almost say that that girl there on the page is one with her inspiration or with her surroundings, because there's not really a beginning or an end to it. You can't really say what part on the right hand side underneath her chin is inspiration and what is her face or parts of her body. So I'm just trying to have a nice way of incorporating the background into the face, I guess. So I'm having the first layer dry, and as always I went in with my hairdryer because I'm impatient, and now I'm just adding dark blue ink to form the surface of the water or the inspirational fluid, whatever you want to call it, right? So you see part of the submerged girl and part that is above the surface, breathing in the creativity maybe. And I stayed very light with that because I didn't want it to overwhelm the whole page. Now I'm going in with some white gouache and just adding the white highlights on the page. The one on the lips I'm going to tone down in the end, but I just want some highlights / kind of separation or distinction between all the different layers that you can see here, it being the liquid surface, the girl, the background. I want there to be distinct layers, but I also want them to blend in together, you know? So once I had that dried, I went on with stamping, and for that I did take this star and applied clear ink and white embossing powder. Now I don't have one of those tools that takes away the static things from the page, and at one point I have to get one. But for now I just make do and brush away the powder or at the places I don't want it to be on the page, and make it work like that. But it's way less clean as it would be with one of those powder tools. And I guess those stars are just the ideas sparking in the creativity with the inspiration that you're floating in. So there's always at least one or two ideas hovering on the horizon or being in the back of my mind, and that's why I added those stars. So once the powder is melted, I'm going on adding a bit of line work around the stars just to have them pop out a bit more, but I'm again staying very, very minimalistic with those lines because I don't want the markers to stand out. I want this to be about ink and its different kinds of application. And then I'm toning down the lips. I'm going in with the black first, giving it a tiny bit of an outline with shadow parts, just defining a few things that I didn't before. And well, not giving her dimension because she's definitely not 3D, but just giving some interest to the girl that makes you look at her for more than 3 seconds. So these are the lines that I just talked about, and I just remembered I did them with ink and not with my markers, which I think was a good choice because the ink from these bottles being a liquid as well, being very floating and whatnot, I think it just works better with the overall theme of the page. Now I'm writing the sentiment with 2 colors of ink, black and magenta, and it's flowing along with inspiration. And once I signed my page, I'm already done. This was a very quick design, only took about an hour in real time. And it's very simple, very very floating. It's very calm, very, well, not very deep, but just like la la la, you know? So that was my page of the week. I hope you enjoyed watching along my process there. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week at the new art journal design. If you want to watch more art videos, just subscribe to the channel. I got something for you every day of the week. Art, cooking, and board games, where art is of course the main focus. So have a lovely day, enjoy, and I will see you. Goodbye.